Before we dive in and look at some code, I want to talk a little bit about organizing code. I think this is very important, and I have to admit I'm extremely anal retentive about this. So let's take a look at what I do. Go ahead and open Xcode. Double click on the project if you have it in the list of recently opened projects. If not, make sure you open the workspace file. First thing we're going to see here is that I have two main projects that is in the workspace, LOL Book of Champions, and then of course the CocoaPods. For now, we're not going to worry about the CocoaPods project. Instead, I want to focus on the Book of Champions project. You'll notice that first of all, I have things neatly organized into folders. The first is called LOL Book of Champions, the second LOL Book of Champions tests. The first one contains the entire application. When you run the application and run it in the simulator or on the iPhone or whatever, that's where all the code resides. Of course, the contents of the tests folder is where all my unit tests are, and there's no application code there whatsoever. We're going to ignore the rest of these for now. So let me open the Book of Champions folder, and you'll notice these are also alphabetized, and I have a number of folders here. For whatever reason, Xcode doesn't alphabetize anything, and I find that annoying. AppCode, which is another IDE that I prefer when I write Objective-C and Swift, does alphabetize everything. So often I'll be writing code there, and when I come back to Xcode, everything's a mess because Xcode has to be manually arranged. And so what I do is I want to make sure my code is neatly organized. I have a number of what I'll call modules, app, core, and data dragon, and then I have a couple other folders that just contain some files. When I open up app, you'll notice everything that I have is organized first alphabetically, and then I make sure that things are neatly put into folders. I always have my header files first, followed by the .m file. As you can see here, appdelegate.h is first, followed by the m file, and then I have a consistent set of subfolders in each module. If a module does not contain any classes in a particular area or category, then I may not have the same exact folders in each module. As you can see here, I have some are named the same, some are not. I have a module folder, a view folder, and a task folder. Inside core, I have content, database, module, and task. There's nothing to do with database in the app module, therefore there is no folder. However, there is something to do with module, and I'll talk about all this later. There's views in the application, and there are tasks. In core, I have content, database, module, and task. And then when I open Data Dragon, you'll notice the same: content, module, service, and task. So where appropriate, I have the exact same folders. So once you learn the structure, and you can make whatever structure you like, this is just what I prefer, but once you make your structure, be consistent. That means as a developer or someone else looking at your code, when you have a task folder here, and you have a task folder here, and you have a task folder here, and you know the sorts of code that goes in those folders, then it's obvious to anyone that is familiar with your structure what's in there. And a lot of the time spent maintaining code is spent looking for code. And if you can be consistent, it's going to save everybody a lot of time and headache. So I'm going to just explode one of these. And this one has, as you can see, quite a few classes in it, or files. And they're all alphabetized. H header files first, followed by the M. So this is just what I do. I know it's a little tedious maybe to do this, and like I said, you have to manually arrange things and drag them around in Xcode because it doesn't do it automatically. I think there may be a plugin that you can install in Xcode or some sort of script that you can run that will do this on your behalf, but I just do it manually, and I try to come into Xcode periodically and keep things arranged. So that's how I organize code, and I would urge you to do something similar.